Dino, congratulations on a massive event on the weekend.
Look, very happy with the outcome. Congratulations going to go to Joseph Parker with the way he just demolished Dimitrenko. That was a big fight for Joe, and he came through it with flying colours, and mate, it's put him on the world scene in terms of interest, because that's the first time we've fought someone of that size, and it just showed that he can handle the bigger guys. And I'm sure that Anthony Joshua in particular has looked at that, Vladimir Klitschko, thinking, this guy can really
Let's
fight.
rethink. Were you surprised with the way Dimitrenko turned up? He's supposed to be the biggest fighter Joseph is to fight so far.
Yeah, well, look, Dimitrenko was in shape. Have a think about this. 6'7.5" and 115 kilos. There looked to be not an ounce of fat on him. He's had 40 fights in the past for 38 wins, and he'd fought the likes of Kubrat Pulev, who right now is ranked number 2 in the world. You add to that the fact that he's 34 years of age. Here's a guy in his prime. He's a former European champion. The fact that Joseph Parker walked through Dimitrenko like he was just a club fighter, mate, just goes to show how good Joseph is, and how good a job him and Kevin Barry have done over the last sort of 3 months getting prepared for a fight such as that. And it gives us great heart looking forward to the heavyweight division, where you've got these big guys such as Joshua and these big guys such as Vladimir Klitschko. I've got to be honest, we have a level of confidence that Joseph can beat these guys.
Now, the protest that he was talking about lodging against the illegal punch.
He can lodge as many protests as he wants. The WBO officials came out and said Joseph was dominating the fight. There's no controversy. He got counted out. And to be fair, I think Dimitrenko looked like he might have been a bit of a play act in there. Who knows? Maybe he was playing up, maybe he wasn't. But Joseph Parker hits very, very hard. And he was down, 3-4 times in the fight, so there's no way he's going to win the fight. So I'm not concerned about any protest.
Right. He was going to go to the hospital and get confirmed the injury. Have you, has he surfaced with any of those records?
I don't know. I've heard nothing in terms of scans and what have you, so I'm assuming that he's okay.
Now, we know that WBO, WBA, Klitschko, Camp and Eddie Hearns would have watched, saw that fight. What about the global audience?
Look, that fight went to 53 countries around the world, Samoa being one of them. We're very proud that Joe Kyle at TV3 takes our fights. He's a great partner of ours, and we like dealing with him. So 53 countries, probably the biggest audience that Joseph's ever been in front of, and potential audiences in the hundreds of millions. So it was just a wonderful occasion, and particularly that Joe came through so good. And you've now got British commentators saying they can't wait for him to face Anthony Joshua.
Now, talking about Samoa, let's deal with that now. We loved having him earlier in the year. It seems so long ago, but it's only 10 months ago. Any chance of Joseph coming back to Samoa to fight there?
We really enjoyed the time going back into Samoa. That was probably one of the highlights of Joseph's career so far from a promotional point of view. The reception was so warm. What makes it really difficult is that Joseph is now going into the upper echelons of the heavyweight ranks, which means that his pay scale goes through the roof. And we can't be fighting guys like Daniel Martz anymore. We've got to be fighting guys that are much better, and as a result cost a lot more money. Add to that, Joseph Parker deserves to be paid a lot more money. So it makes it very, very difficult for Joe, I think, to fight in Samoa again. Having said that, who knows? If Joe had a real ambition to fight there, which I know he'd love to go back there and we could make it work, you just never know. And the people of Samoa are so warm and welcoming. It was such a great night. We'd love to be there. It just comes down to, what are the financial ramifications of being able to make that happen.
Dollars and cents. Now let's talk about dollars and cents for Joseph Parker. What is the latest with who's he fighting next?
We don't know who he's fighting next. The situation is very fluid, to say the least. You've got Tyson Fury. We're waiting for him to be stripped. We think it will happen, but there are no guarantees. So that's number one. If he's stripped, that allows us as a number 1 contender in the WBO to fight Vladimir Klitschko. Now, Vladimir Klitschko right now is negotiating with Anthony Joshua, and that fight looks like it's going to be made. So if Klitschko fights in that fight and Fury is stripped, the next fight cab off the rank will be number 1, which is Joseph Parker, versus number 3, which is Andy Ruiz. So we think we can make the fight for Ruiz. We've been talking with his promoter, Bob Arum, and we'd like to make history by bringing that fight here to New Zealand, perhaps in December. But like I said, there's no guarantees in this, and it's a very fluid situation, to say the least.
Now, the 10-day period for Fury to come up with further evidence was started last week. It should be around about midweek this week.
I think the WBO issued a note to him Monday last week, and that's That's Tuesday New Zealand time because of the 1 day lag in the Northern Hemisphere and the time zone they're in. So I think it'll probably be Thursday, Friday before we hear back, if we hear back at all. The honest truth is, who knows what's going to happen, and all we can do is plan for all contingencies. We know that we want Joseph to fight again before December, or sorry, before the end of December, and then fight again probably in March next year. Now, it is our preference that that fight in December is for a world title against Andy Ruiz, and that the March fight would be a world title defence. But who knows? You know, maybe what happens is, for whatever reason, if Eddie Hearn turns out to be a magician, which I don't think he is, and he can get the Vladimir Klitschko fight for the WBA, the IBF and the WBO, maybe we fight a big guy in December in preparation to take on the winner of Klitschko versus Joshua, because Joseph is the mandatory in the IBF. So it's like I said, it's a lot of unknowns. I'm working towards one outcome at the moment, which is taking on Ruiz down here, but I'm also keeping my options open just in case.
What's your response to Eddie Hearn's now touting the WBO belt as part of the fight with Klitschko on the 26th?
I don't think he can make the WBO. I don't think he can make that fight with Joshua for the WBO belt. I think the WBO will stick to its rules, and I think with Bob Arum making sure, as a promoter of Andy Ruiz, I think Bob Arum will make sure that the WBO sticks to its rules. And
even if the dollars are in favour of
let's not misunderstand the situation, right? There is no promoter in the world who's paid as much money to the WBO and to the other sanctioning organisations as Bob Arum. You know, like Eddie Hearn's a wonderful promoter, and so is Bern Bont. They've done a good job of Vladimir Klitschko, and they're quite big, but they're nowhere near as big as Bob Arum. He's got more influence and more power and more money than all of them. So we'll just have to wait and see, you know, what happens. I think the WBO will stick to its rules, and I think that they will strip Tyson Fury, and I think that Joseph Parker will be offered the opportunity to fight for the belt with Andy Ruiz. However, what I think and what happens might be two different things, and I can only go by what I read in the rules and who I'm dealing with and what's been said. But things change.
Have you had word from Jose Escuero at all?
Jose?
The WBO's president?
No,
or anybody
Parker.
from
Okay, the guy you're talking about is the president, is Parker. And I haven't had any discussion with Parker, but I know Bob Arum has.
Okay. So can we take it that the David Price fight is dead in the water?
You can take nothing right now. Because here's the thing. Let's just say Eddie pulls off a miracle. Makes it for 3 belts, right? And the WBO is one of them. I don't think he can, but if he can, he's like Harry Potter. He's a true wizard. Well, then it would make sense that we fought on that undercard. But whether, you know, like, the dynamics of everything is changing all the time, right? So that would be a good fight for us. Maybe, you know, we'll wait. Like I said, I can't give you any guarantees. All I can tell you is what I'm working towards, and I've got contingencies in the background just in case.
Now, Andy Ruiz, he's had similar pathway to Joseph this year, 3 fights, 3 wins.
Yes.
And you're talking about the 10th of December, which is, well, it's only 2 months away.
Not far away.
Not far away.
Well, look, I'm working hard to pull this fight together. We've got venues booked, and we're talking with Bob Arum, and we're just waiting to see what happens. In the meantime, I'm just running around just making sure that no matter what happens, we're ready to go for a December date for a fight, regardless of who it is.
Right.
Now this will all become a lot clearer in the next week.
The next week.
Because and the reason why I say the next week is, I'm not sure if Tyson Fury is going to be stripped or not. Everyone says he's going to be. That's out of our control. What I do know is Eddie Hearn has got a date booked in England for a venue at the Manchester Arena for November 26th. Now he's got a fight to run and a fight night to sell. I'm pretty sure the second he goes on sale, he's going to sell that thing out. He might have an alternative date, an alternative venue booked. But all the pressure's on Eddie right now, because he's got to make that fight for Anthony Joshua. So in the very near future, an announcement will be made one way or the other because of the looming dates, and that will make things a lot clearer. Now the second, I think they will make Vladimir Klitschko versus Anthony Joshua. I think it'll be a huge fight, and I think they'll also strip Tyson Fury. Now that will open the way for us to contest the WBO belt, assuming Eddie hasn't waved his magic wand.
Now, Andy Ruiz, if you were to now go that pathway,
Yes.
and Joshua and Klitschko have their fight, and
Yes.
He's known to have pulled out of a few fights himself.
I think if Andy Ruiz had one, his biggest payday on the line, which is what this fight would be, and two, it was for a world title, which means that if he can win it going forward, he's going to have another really good payday, and for as long as he kept the title, he's going to keep having good paydays. I think Andy Ruiz will 100% turn up and fight. And one of the things we like to do here is to bring guys down early.
Yeah.
So we'd bring him down here, one, to launch the fight, if
Yes.
we get it together, and he gets accustomed
Like
to...
he did with Dimitrenko.
Like we did with Dimitrenko. And he'd be down here a good 2 weeks before the fight to let him get over jet lag, let him get prepared, let him do the right amount of media so we can sell the fight. So I don't think there'll be any issues with Andy Ruiz, and I've got no doubts that if we sign a contract with Ruiz and Bob Arum, it will happen.
Venue for that? Have you?
Still working our way through it. You know, we're talking to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Obviously, this will be a fight of a magnitude that's never been seen in this country. We've talked about outdoor venues. We have to gauge interest and and expense against revenues we think we'll get in. So we're still working our way through it.
And money-wise, what's the cost of running that kind of event with prize money and everything?
To run a card like that, you're talking multiple millions. And it's not, Joseph expects to be paid and paid well, and Ruiz expects to be paid and paid well, and we also would have a very, very significant world-class undercard. None of this stuff comes cheap. So it's very, very expensive to do. But we've got great partners. I think we can make it happen, and I think this is the right place to do it, and we're committed to making history on December 10 or roundabouts, where Joseph Parker not only fights for the world title but wins a world title.
Dan Lonergan, thanks again.
Seti, it's a pleasure. There you go, brother. I can't